What's going on, y'all? This is John Alsace with Facemask Fantasy. We got new up-to-date fantasy content coming your way every day on this channel, so if you have not subscribed already, then please hit that button. But before we get into our main topic for today, my co-host Nick Payne put in a ton of work to give you guys a free 2021 Redraft draft kit available on our website, which can be found at facemaskpod.com. It's a great piece of content, something that other analysts might be charging you for, but we're giving it to you for free. So without further ado, let's get into some fantasy talk. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite running backs, Antonio Gibson, because there's a report that went under the radar for me, came out a few weeks ago, that NBC Sports JP Finley reports that Washington's quarterback Kyle Allen said the team is, and I quote, trying to push Antonio Gibson into a similar role as Christian McCaffrey. That's the end of the quote, but it's not the first time we've seen the Gibson-Christian McCaffrey comparison, but it's hard not to see the connective tissue here. You have Ron Rivera, who oversaw Christian McCaffrey's rise to relevance and rise to fame, really. If there's one head coach in the league that I would trust to put Antonio Gibson into a Christian McCaffrey role, it would be Ron Rivera. Now, what makes Christian McCaffrey's role so great is the fact that he's getting a ton of rushing work, but on top of that, he's getting more than 100 targets in the pass game year in, year out. So that's where Gibson's going to see the boost in value. Gibson's usage in the Washington football team's first preseason game wasn't exactly inspiring. The second-year back started the game, but he saw no third down snaps against the Patriots. He was targeted 3 times in the limited playing time, and I don't believe it will require a massive increase in targets or receptions to prove a value in 2021. But in order to get to Christian McCaffrey's level, he's basically going to have to accumulate 50 targets on top of what he was getting last year in terms of work. In 2020, he caught 36 of 44 targets in 14 games, and that's a pace of 50 targets in 16 games. Christian McCaffrey perennially gets above 100 targets, so that's where we would see the increase. Now, in 2020, JD McKissic had a lock on hurry-up snaps, which was a major factor in producing his 6.9 targets per game. McKissic ended up being the running back 34 to Gibson's running back 14 last season, based solely on being peppered by targets from Alex Smith. New quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick is much less likely than Alex Smith to check down to a running back on early downs, so I don't see the same amount of work from McKissic as last season. The question remains if Gibson will see a significant expanded receiving role. He'll likely need to be involved in passing game situations in a way that he did not get involved in last season, and that appears to be a realistic possibility. Gibson enters 2021 with as much potential as any second-round running back to blow away his ADP right now, because I believe he can be a top 5 running back. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Washington's running back coach, Randy Johnson, said Antonio's improvement in year 2 is like night and day, and that's a direct quote. He also went on to say, "You can tell he's matured, got a better feel and understanding." In the same press conference, Ron Rivera came out and said, "You can tell he's matured and got a better feel and understanding." Those natural instincts that you look for, the intangibles that guys have been playing, the positions their whole career naturally have, you start to see those come to light in Antonio. That's a great quote. And by all accounts last season, in spite of Gibson finishing RB14, he was lost at times from an offensive perspective. Coaches noted how he would often find himself out of position on a per-play basis based on the game plan, which forced the team to utilize backs who were less raw in some key situations where they normally wouldn't. That was not the case at the offseason workouts, as Gibson reportedly understood how to set defenders up when asked to catch the ball. JD McKissic outsnapped Gibson 197-22 on third downs last season, but I believe that margin shrinks in 2021, making the latter, Gibson, a tremendous option atop the second-tier running backs for fantasy. Now, an earlier report came out in the offseason that Antonio Gibson was still rehabbing from a toe injury that he suffered late in the 2020 season. Gibson missed 2 games near the end of his impressive rookie campaign with a toe issue, turf toe, and proceeded not to get surgery on it when the surgery is often needed for this type of injury. He opted for rehab, and apparently he's had issues with his sore toe some 8 to 9 months after the injury, late into the offseason process. The report that came out about Gibson went on to say he's able to make cuts when he needs to, but the toe injury is something that he'll have to monitor moving forward. Now, it looks by all accounts like he's completely over the toe injury, but it is something that may linger into the regular season, so it is a slight concern, something to keep an eye on, but I don't think it's something you should be actively worrying about at this point in time. The Washington football team selected wide receiver running back Antonio Gibson with the 66th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. He came into the league 6'2", 228 pounds, so he comes in with the requisite size, and he was thought of by some to be a wideout as he was used as such in college. Many would argue that he was underutilized at Memphis, but arguably he was the most efficient player in the entire country. He had 15.6 yards per touch in college. Pro Football Focus credited him with 16 broken tackles on 33 carries with 17 broken tackles on 38 receptions. Nevertheless, his total lack of production, only 77 career offensive touches, made him a difficult prospect to project. Gibson ran with power and elusiveness when he had the ball in his hands, but he was extremely raw. In his favor was the fact that he had 4.39 speed, which made him intriguing. Gibson was thought of to be a high upside weapon for the offense that drafted him, and the Washington football offense in 2020 was short on high upside weapons. Now, he ended up finishing RB14 in a bad offense with a good defense, without really knowing the offense in and out, and without hardly playing any passing downs and only playing 14 games. He has top 5 upside right now, and he's playing in a better offense with Fitzpatrick at the helm, with the additions of Curtis Samuel and De'Ami Brown and the long-term signing of Logan Thomas at the tight end position, who should keep 8 men out the box on most snaps, all 3 of them combined with Terry McLaurin, if he really gets the McCaffrey work. That's incredible for his value. I'm not really expecting him to get above 100 targets, but adding 30 more targets onto his totals I don't think is out of the question, and I think that's enough to vault him into almost top 5 consideration. In season long, I think he's a sure thing RB1, and you can get him in the second round right now. He's almost bulletproof at this point. No offseason moves at the position outside of signing undrafted free agent Jarrett Patterson after the draft, which to his credit, he has performed well, and in the preseason, he's looked to have locked up the direct backup role to Gibson, but he's not a threat whatsoever to Gibson's workload. Gibson is an RB1. In Dynasty, he's young, he hardly has any wear and tear on his body outside of the toe injury from being lightly used in college. He plays for a great team in an ascending offense with a top-tier defense. He should be a running back 1 for years to come, and if he gets the receiving work that McCaffrey has gotten in the past, we could really see him step into rarefied air. He could end up being the RB1 overall at some point in his career, so to me he's a buy in all formats wherever you can get him. I am a huge fan of his. So what do you guys think? Put your thoughts in the comments section below. My name is John Alsace and this is Facemask Fantasy. We bring you new up-to-date fantasy content every day right here on this channel, so if you have not subscribed already, please hit that button. Thank you for listening and have a great day.